Have you ever wondered what would happen if you truly paused to reflect on your year? Not just on the highs and lows, but on the lessons hidden in everything. Today, we're not just talking about setting goals, we're going deeper. We're guiding you to build a life manifesto inspired by John and Missy Butcher's Lifebook that aligns with your deepest purpose. So just grab a pen and paper, sit down and make some notes, because by the end of this episode, you'll have a clear, actionable vision for the year ahead. Let's dive in.
I love this topic. Hi, David Tucker. I am the co-host, as you know, or I'm the sidekick.
It is.
You're Batman,
yes.
And I'm Robin.
Yes, David is with me. We love doing these episodes together, Dave, and this is so powerful. We are a day from Thanksgiving, and I really doubt that you're listening to this the day before Thanksgiving, because you know how busy you are the day before Thanksgiving? You're not listening to anything but like music and your phone's ringing 100 million times, and you're probably scrolling through social media.
And hopefully you got half a day off, or if you're like us, you worked right up till the darkness.
Yeah.
I think the day before Thanksgiving is one of the biggest pizza consumption nights in history.
Nobody's cooking.
Nobody's cooking.
Well, everybody's cooking for Thanksgiving, but not eating.
Second only to the Super Bowl. We all know everybody has pizza on the Super Bowl. So,
well, welcome to episode officially number 37 of Embers Rising. We're Wendy and David. And in our last episode, we talked about seeing gratitude as a color. And in today's episode, as we near the end of the year, we're not just here to review the past. We're here to dig in and create a clear path forward. And we wanted to do this with you together because we've talked about it a few times in our episodes. So inspired by John and Missy Butcher in Lifebook, which we'll talk about here in just a minute, today we're going to help you build a life manifesto that's not just about your goals, but about who you really want to become. And we're here with you, ready to make this year's lessons your stepping stones. So let's jump in. Before we actually get into that, how are you?
I'm doing good. I like this.
Are you stressed for Thanksgiving?
I am not stressed for Thanksgiving because, well, cooking.
Tell us what is your plan?
Cooking is a master superpower for me.
If you don't know,
it's never been difficult. Like, I can make dinner for 15 people. If you're like, oh, they're coming over tonight, and I'm be like, oh, 4 hours, perfect. I'll have 2 hours of time to sip wine, right?
Dave is incredible. He's an incredible chef. He can take anything and just make something out of it. It's incredible. One time, oh my gosh, it was this year in Tahoe. We had rented a condo that we thought had a barbecue. It did have a barbecue. However,
It was fire season, and so they had a padlock on the barbecue, and in where we were staying in Tahoe, they had a mandate that there were no open flames, including barbecues. Now, it was Wendy's birthday. We had the whole family there, and I had brought with us all of these beautiful Snake River Farms ribeye steaks, right?
God.
That was your birthday.
It was so incredible.
And
However,
I did not have a barbecue.
We didn't have a barbecue.
I had a very small kitchen to work with and pulled it off. I mean, everybody's like, man, these are the best steaks I've ever had. And I'm like, yep.
I don't even know.
It worked out.
Did we bring cast iron?
We didn't bring cast iron. I had to use the janky pans that they had there. Fortunately, there was a stainless steel pan, so that was the saving grace. At least they did have some tools.
That's good.
But I mean, if I had to put it on a stick and roast it over the open burner to make it work, then it was going to work.
Dave's really incredible at being creative. I'm on the other side. I love baking, and I love all the alternative baking. I guess the word alternative baking out there, because I'm gluten-free, and I love just trying new recipes out there. So I love making so many different things.
And just remember, steak is the original gluten-free food.
There we go. Yeah. So as we dive into this episode, because there's so many things to reflect on and talk about. First of all, shout out to our amazing listeners. You guys are here with us. If you've pressed play today, thank you. Super grateful for you. Whenever you've pressed play, whether you've had a year of triumphs or one of deep growth, you are here with us to evolve and rise together. So your stories inspire us every single day. And I want to do a couple of shout outs that I have here on a post. we had a post that went out called 4 Signs You Need a Communication Coach. And Jessie B says, having a communication coach is a lifesaver and opens many doors. Jessie was actually, her and her husband came to our Speak to Connect, a beta group kickoff, and they were fabulous to work with, by the way. This is for our Speak to Connect program. So we're talking about communication coaching. And then I don't know how to say your handle, but I think it's So Rove Orker 5. Thanks for sharing. Anyway, awesome. And then this is so rad. We're actually getting comments now on YouTube, our YouTube channel. And yes, we do have a YouTube channel. Because people are asking, do you have a YouTube channel? Yes, we do have a YouTube channel for Embers Rising podcast. And I think it's Robust Physical Therapy says, this sounds like an amazing podcast. I'm always looking for inspiration, motivation. Thank you. And Natty_creator says, absolutely loving the energy in this podcast. Man, thank you, Natty. That is so cool. I have watched you grow on Instagram, by the way, and you are incredible yourself. So just for saying that, super grateful that you're with us. I hope that you see this shout out on YouTube. Then we had another post that was really funny, and I was thinking about Communication Dave again, and it was this post of this dog. And the dog, it was actually a meme, and it was this dog that had like a stocking cap on, and it was just kind of had this look on it. It was just kind of turning to he was in a car. And he was turning to the window and back. He was just sitting. He was like this bulldog, had that bulldog face. And on the meme, I said, when you realize I'm fine is code for, I'm really kind of mad at you.
I've seen that. I've seen the bulldog face before.
And
you don't poke the bulldog when it has that face.
I love that. God, I love my social media manager. She's so great. She really inspires me. Anyway, I think it's Aka Socials says, thanks for sharing this amazing post. And then it's Jacqueline Nicole. Send some laugh emojis. And then A Digital Academy says, great post. Robust Physical Therapy says, thanks for sharing this wisdom. This is cute and true. By It's Jen and Wen. Mr. and Mrs. D. Adventure says, love this. I want to say Shil Piper Japati. I'm not sure if that's right. Amazing share. Red White Adventures. Laugh Faces, Brand Social Consulting. This is so good. Digital Marketing Trends said amazing. So we love doing shout outs like that for you, by the way. So if you are consuming any of the content anywhere, leave us a message, DM us, put a comment out there on any of our channels. We will see it. I just had to say that, Dave, because we're doing so much this year. Let's shift gears. Let's shift gears. This has been an incredible year. It's really hard to have a personal reflection together. But I think it's time to dive into this because when you're able to sit down and take a pause and create a life manifesto, you are directing what you want for your life instead of rolling into the next day of life hitting you. And I hate when I hear someone tell me that they woke up, they had XYZ plan, and these 50 things happened, and they didn't get anything done. And there's a lot of reasons for that.
And we've all had those days.
We've all had those days, for sure.
And sometimes it is a lack of direction, right?
Yeah.
And executing
Boundaries
on your plan. And then sometimes shit just blows up and there's nothing you can do.
The important piece is in the big picture, you want to have a manifesto for your life. And you want to be able, it's not just for next year. It's your life manifesto. Where do you want to be going in the next 50 years? I want to help your brain blow up in a way that you've never seen before. And think about things that you are doing that's consuming you that you may be able to change. That's what this episode is really all about. So listeners, listen up. Let's dive in, Dave, to this because I want to share some insights from what we've done in this last year, from highs and lows. And I want to share these stories with our listeners so they know how we are working to create personal transformation.
I love it. And in this process, and I'm not looking at your notes.
Oh, no.
Sorry about doing this live. Do you have all the categories for Lifebook? Because it is, for a lot of people, when you talk about a life manifesto, their mind automatically goes to, what do I want, right? In terms of physical objects, houses and cars and boats and planes and all those things. And they think that's what your life is all about, right? It's getting things, accumulating things, when in fact what makes your life rich is maybe some of that, but so many other things. And so that's why I ask about the categories,
I do,
because
yeah.
there were some of them that that I was really surprised that they were in there. And I also was really surprised at what I learned about myself in either how I had thought about that category in Lifebook or my lack of actually even thinking about it, right? There were some categories I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. In terms of big picture, in terms of, ending up with the richest, fullest, happiest, most productive life you're ever going to create for yourself.
Well, first of all, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, what the heck is a Lifebook? So let us direct you to John and Missy Butcher, two artist entrepreneurs who have traveled the world and have launched incredible businesses and are now living their own life manifesto in Hawaii. And their life revolves around an epic love affair, family, and work. They have founded dozens of organizations, and part of their mission is giving back and teaching others about how to create their own Lifebook. We will include a link to where we have been trained for our Lifebook, which came about through Mind Valley. We have been a huge Mind Valley student since 2014, and Lifebook is in one of their premium programs. Highly recommend it. But instead of doing that program, we wanted to give it to you for free here on this episode, because if you don't have time to take on that program, we understand. And if you're a busy mom, athlete, whatever you've got going on in your life, this is it. We're going to help you create this in this one episode, because life moves pretty fast. And sometimes we don't all have the time. We're booked already at, different colleges or schools, or doing these so many things. And that's why I said, let's just get this all out in one episode. And Dave was like, what? I'm like, let's just talk about how to actually do this in one episode, because it's a lot of optimizing that we can do. I'm trying to find the right words here. A lot of optimizing we can do instead of making it such a big deal. Now, Dave just mentioned, what are the categories? So when we sat down to create a Lifebook, and this ties into what a life manifesto is, we went through these categories of health and fitness, intellectual life, emotional life, character, spiritual life, love relationship, parenting, social life, financial life, career, quality of life, life vision, and the secret to true success. There were 13 categories. We took an assessment with their program, and then you work through each of those categories.
And you forgot to mention the one category.
It is number 13, the secret to true success.
Okay.
And I did mention that, and I'm not going to give it away, because I want our listeners, if you want to go explore the program, go check it out.
And
there
I
is
highly
a bonus.
recommend that you do, right? Like,
For sure.
We're going to give you an overview, but this is something that's worth diving in deep, and the process can take a while, right? It's not like you snap your fingers.
And Dave and I are going to share our life manifesto here with you. It's about a page and a half of what we're going for, just so you have an idea how to lay it down. But I wanted to walk you through a very simple way to do this. So if you're like sitting on the sofa, having this day before Thanksgiving, or maybe it's after Thanksgiving, and you're pressing play and you're like, hey, I'm ready. Like, family stuff is done. Obligations are done. I want to start a different year for myself next year. This is it. So we're going to keep it really simple, because man, this stuff can get complicated, Dave. People have you creating all sorts of things, and it gets mind-blowing. You get overwhelmed. You're like, I don't have time for that. How can I just create it very simply, easily? Like, I just want to walk through it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is reflecting on your year. And to move forward, we first need to understand where we've been through the year. And reflecting on your year isn't just about celebrating those wins, but it's also about finding the meaning in every moment. I'm going to give you action steps, but first of all, let Dave and I share a story. So this year, Dave, when I look back at reflecting on our year, and we're talking about finding meaning in every moment, I am so grateful of all the things that we have done this year. Not even the cold, snowy training back in February, charging up those mountains, or 21 degrees temperatures with blowing wind. through all of the races we did this year, including running the Grand Canyon, man, we did some epic stuff.
That's for sure. When I think about like the wins that I'll take away from this year, there are many of them.
Oh my gosh.
But it's the adventure stuff for me, right? Like the Grand Canyon is got to be at the top of my top 3 wins for the year in terms of just training for it and then actually doing it. It was sort of like Christmas Day, right? It came and went so quickly. I wish I could have sat down and watched all of the gifts get opened as opposed to just focusing on the gift that was opening for me.
Absolutely incredible. Not just our adventures, though. The races, the training that we put ourselves through. To me, when we talk about finding meaning in every moment, I really look at doing those things with you together, even on a daily basis when we're training, and having to find meaning in a moment of pain where there has been struggles of whatever pains I've had through my training, I've had to work through. I look at those, and that's just not all about our adventures and our races and the pains. I look through all the big pictures we've had with our coaches. We've done an incredible lot. We just finished a coaching program with Vishen Lakiani from Mind Valley, private coaching, less than 20 people of us. He no longer offers that anymore, but it was incredible, called Business Mastery. It was absolutely incredible to be so close with Vishen and learn from him and his team.
And the incredible people that dropped in
Oh my gosh.
For live sessions. People that
Dave Asbury, Naveen Jain. I'm just shouting some of these people
right.
off.
You just don't get one-on-one time with them to ask them the question that you'd be able to ask them if you got to sit down with them.
Peter Kell, viral content creator. Incredible people. So yeah, super grateful for that. And then super grateful for, finding meaning in every moment, everything we're learning right now with AI. Usually we've been kicking off and sharing with y'all what we've been learning, but it is an explosive amount of what we're learning. And also, we always take it with a little bit of grain of salt, talking about AI, because we know that it's so fast moving that it's going to change and be different a year from now. So we're seeing what's available and what we can do with it and what we can provide our clients with. I think that's the most important, and how we can move their businesses in bigger ways by utilizing and optimizing and compacting, whether it be creatives or data, into different, ways that they want to roll.
It's mind-blowing because I come, in my life book, I look at a lot of things through opportunity, right? And so I went into AI looking for the business opportunities, and like I've got a notebook like this, not enough time in the day to execute on all of them, right? But just one of them or two of them are life-changing.
Totally. So here's your action step. When we're talking about reflecting on your year, write down your top 3 wins of this year. For me, Dave, what do you think our top 3 wins are? For me, my top 3 wins are, I've learned a lot about my body this year and what it's capable of doing.
And for me, so
that's one.
I'm going to bet, right, that our top 3 are going to be very similar. My highest value in life is health, right? And for me, starting running this year was an extension of being healthy. I didn't know to what extent it would have an impact on me, but I feel amazing. So that's right at the top of my list, is actually overcoming the mental chatter of not wanting to run, not liking to run, like all of that, and then just committing to the process and seeing where I'm at by Thanksgiving. Like
I love that.
I'll deserve a second helping of mashed potatoes. Let's just put it that way.
That's so awesome. My second win is just being more present and really being present with the people around me, or in a conversation or on a Zoom call or a coaching call, just being present and listening. That's a big win for me. And I think number 3 is going out and doing our big adventures and coming back safe. That has been a huge win for me.
Awesome.
I'm so grateful. And so the first action step here is reflecting on your year, and then you're going to write down the top 3 wins for your year. The next one is you're going to write down the top 3 challenges.
Oh, wait, we didn't finish with wins for me.
Okay. Hold on. Go.
I actually
couple more wins.
I wrote them down. So you mentioned AI. So it was the learning process. For me, that is a win. And, for anybody, once you get to a certain age, right, there's a saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And that's true, because a lot of times as you get older, you just aren't willing to learn new things. Your capacity is just either diminished or you make that choice. So we have really leaned into learning this year. A lot of different things, and AI is incredible. And then I've got to agree, the adventures, right? Hawaii, Grand Canyon, Moab, McCall, all of the different, events and places. They're priceless. And that's the thing I love. When I go to bed at night and I close my eyes, I get a vision of one of those things, right? And it makes me smile. And then there I am, smiling as I sleep. And you're like, what is he up to? What is he actually thinking about?
That reminds me of the last episode when we talked about painting your canvas with color. And so all of the winds are like these little bright bursts of color on your canvas. Cool. Thank you. That's awesome, Dave. Yeah, there's just...
Hey, I do my homework. So I want a chance to get a gold star, right?
Gold
at the
star.
top of the
Gold
paper.
star.
Or a smiley face, at least.
Okay, the next one is write down your top 3 challenges. What has been the toughest moments or setbacks for you this year?
So right now, money is a huge challenge for us, right? And it's not like we don't have any. It's just that we have shifted from a partnership and another business model that was trading time for money. And we're moving into a space where we're creating more legacy type products and services. And in that building, anytime you start something new, right, it doesn't automatically come with a deposit of cash that comes on top of that. And so it's been, in all honesty, like it's at the top of our Lifebook list right now in terms of category, business and money, focusing on regenerating that is top of the mind. So that's definitely a challenge. And I know everybody out there can feel it, right? Because we've all had some relationship to money where there wasn't enough, right? It's really not money, it's lack of money.
Yeah. I think going through the challenge of not having money, I always call it a season of, and I think if you can frame it that way, but sometimes your seasons can drag on to years. And it's been one of those challenges for us, definitely. This, since the partnership dissolving and moving on from that, it's been a restart because we've had to completely redefine what we wanted to share and actually add more a skill set for ourselves to help others. So when we, and I don't want to sidetrack us, but we took on a program called PCM coaching, and so that we could train people for Speak to Connect program. So we put a lot of energy in this year into learning about that. We're putting a lot of energy into right now AI, so we can help y'all with your businesses, that you want to grow, or an entrepreneur that you want to grow, or systems or processes. We're into that at the moment. So money has been a tough setback. For me, my body has been a really tough challenge for me this year. And now I know it's sometimes you do too much too soon and you really want it so bad that it causes more pains and you need to back off. And you also need to think about, a lot of people say, I don't do this XYZ because it's painful. But the XYZ is painful because maybe you're not strong in an area. It's painful to walk up the stairs if you're not doing glute and knee strengthening. It's painful to do life things if you're not training yourself in these ways. So I know for me, for my body, I have to do some foundational and strength training in a lot of different areas for my glutes and my knees and my quads that I wasn't able to get in because we went from one event to another and there was very little time for training. And then it was like down cycling for the races, right? You had those, recovery weeks that you were down cycling to build back up. And then it was like race. Wow, done, whew. And now it's like rebuilding. So that was a challenge for me. That was a challenge this year, was a setback.
And I think this is a great tool for couples to go through.
Yes.
Right? You write these things down, but don't show them to each other. And then you just read them out loud during a podcast.
Yes. I love it.
You can't get called out. So
what's another one, Dave?
I also put that down, the health of people I love, right? Yeah. And so obviously you were at the top of the list there. With all of your challenges, but also we have other people in our Ohana that are suffering from, a lot of different things. When I say that, I think of my dad, who used to be 200 pounds, and I think my brother said he's down to 103 pounds, right?
So sad.
And we know, the Grim Reaper doesn't like a fair fight, so he doesn't come for strong people. He comes for weak people. And my dad at 94 is at his weakest right now. So the writing is on the wall there, but we also have other people in our family and friends that health is not their highest value. And you see it every day, every time you see them. And they constantly like remind you, oh, my knee hurts, my back hurts. I wish I weighed less. Like, I wish. And we know the truth is wishing is not going to make it so, right? You got to put in the work.
I think you have to be...
Sally McRae says, do the work.
Do the work. You have to be hard on yourself. I mean, sometimes we're all so easy and pampering ourselves. Think about these challenges this year. Think about what are the toughest moments that you had? What are the setbacks that actually push you back? For every challenge, there's at least one lesson that you have learned that can guide you in the future. I think that's important to note. This is all about lesson one. So that's your first step, is writing down your 3 wins, writing down your top 3 challenges, and then identifying one lesson learned from each of these. What can you learn from it? What can you take away from it? That's my lesson number 1.
I like it.
Can I move on to lesson 2?
Yeah, please do. I don't have any notes on it.
Okay.
So this is maybe going to be Freeform Friday, or because it's the day after Thanksgiving if you're listening to it then.
So lesson number 2 is creating your vision with 4 key questions. Now, Dave and I talked about when you do the whole Lifebook program, you're going through 13 different categories, 12, and then they have like a bonus 13. But we should just share that with you at the beginning. But this one, I kind of compacted and said, answering these 4 foundational questions helps you create a vision that's not only inspiring, but also achievable for yourself. So number 1, write this down. Am I asking enough of myself? Number 2, is this vision achievable? What's the dream? Can you achieve it? Number 3, am I willing to pay the price? What's it going to cost you to do the thing? And number 4, will this make me truly happy? Man, those are big questions. Really big questions.
And with number 4, I think personally being the most important, right?
Yeah.
Not everything we do in life is bound to make us happy, right? We've got to do a lot of things that don't necessarily have happiness attached to them. But you don't have energy, right? You generate energy, so you really bring the happiness to the thing. And that's important when you're doing the deep, dark work that needs to be done to build yourself, right? Like when I started running, I was happy that I was doing the work, but I was never happy with the results or the way I felt after it, right? And that was for the first, 3 or 4 months. After that, now I get the runner's high. I actually get the runner's high.
That's great. That's so great. Well, I think this is really important lesson. So we're talking about creating your vision for your life, not just next year, for your life, the big goals. And I really want to challenge you in thinking about the dream that you have, because we know people, we have coached people that say, I have this dream, and they're not thinking beyond the dream. They're thinking about singing on stage. They're thinking about having 1 million followers. They're thinking about teaching this one way. They're thinking about being a speaker here at this event. But what's beyond that? That's what I'm talking like. What's your big picture? Get beyond that. What is the golden egg that you're sitting on right now that you have not tapped into yet? That's what I'm talking about. And so when I think of these questions, Dave, and I think, am I asking enough of myself? Maybe not. Am I asking enough of myself to think differently or show up differently every day? Is the vision achievable? Do I 100% have belief in myself to actually achieve that? Or am I kind of like 50% in, 50% out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out?
You would have to answer that question for yourself.
And
We all go through that, but That is the cycle of self-sabotage, the thing that comes out, right? You've got I've got the good David on one side and the bad David on the other, or positive and negative, however you want to think about those things. And I don't know why the negative one gets so much screen time, right? He does. Like, he's in the ear. But all you really need to do is just tell him to go away. And he's like, oh, well, I'll be back. And you're like, yeah, I know you will. And I'll tell you to go away again.
I think you've got to be very determined and consistent with what you have in mind for your vision. And when you create this life manifesto, here's a little tip. You're going to read it every day. It's going to sit on your countertop. You're going to tape it in your bedroom. You're going to see it every day. It's a reminder for yourself to show up with the vision that you have in mind for your life.
And as an overachiever, I turned mine into a song using AI, and it's a pretty good song too.
We were coaching. Yeah, absolutely. That's an incredible way to do it as well. That totally reminded me, we were coaching with Mr. Grateful, Dominique. If you don't know him, check him out. And he created a really cool off paper vision for his life manifesto in a video format by creating, and you can do it in Canva, by the way. You don't have to use AI, but you could grab different video images of what you have in mind, or grab some stock that's free from companies like Pexels and what's the other one out there?
There's a bunch of them.
So several. Anyway, you could build your own life manifesto video. And he turned his into a screensaver. So it just plays as a screensaver on his computer. And I think that's so cool. That's another layer to this. We're talking about the very paper foundation version, but you can take that to this whole nother level. I think the important piece of this is getting the answers to these questions. You have to answer yes or no to these questions. It's, am I willing to pay the price? Yes or no. Will this truly make me happy? Yes or no. And if the answer is no, you've got to adjust your vision until it aligns with your goals. Because if the answer is no, it doesn't feel realistic. And then you're not going to follow through. If you answer yes, explain why. If you say, am I asking enough for myself? Okay, why? Answer the why. That's the important piece. When we woke up today, I said to myself, man, I don't have time to get these podcasts shot. I really don't have, I've got so many other things to do, Dave. But here we are. We're in the studio. And I thought, but you know what? I love our listeners. I love that we can be here with you through the journey that we're going through. And I'm like, I am showing up for you today. And here we are. Because we're going to make this happen.
Why?
We know the holidays are coming. And so we wanted to crush it. And we're kind of do a compact version right now with our episode shoots. So we are shooting a little early, but we know the rollout and we want you to have this in your pocket. When it comes time for you to press play and you say, hey man, I am ready to create that life manifesto. So
if you're going to do it and it's worth doing, sometimes you got to do more of it, right? And so we just know that life is going to happen and the holidays are going to come. So it's time for us to shoot the episodes because they're for you as much as they're for us.
Yeah.
Now.
That's our service giving back. Can I move on to number 3?
Please.
Lesson number 3, implement 3 sacred choices. This is important. So sacred choices are your daily habits, okay? They're that bridge that is the gap between where you are and where you want to be. What is consuming your life? It's taking you away from where you want to be, no matter what your goal is. And if you tell me, hey, I want to lose weight, but you are doing so many other things that are getting in the way, let's talk about your daily habits. And what more do you need to learn, right? Especially with health, because it's always changing. What do you need to be motivated to make this happen? So, Dave, 3 sacred choices. When I think about habits, things we need to give up and move on. Here's one that we just started. We're both reading different books. David is reading
Iron Fit.
Iron Fit. I can't remember the author. Sorry. I am reading right now Jason Koop's book, Ultra Running, which is a classic. Check it out if you're ultra runner. But I am reading those books. So we are doing those in the evenings instead of flipping on Netflix. We are like, hey, if we're going to be together and sit here and consume media, why don't we consume this book? We're still on the sofa together and we're not talking for a half an hour. If it's 30 minutes though, you're consuming something valuable for your life that you want to do. Maybe it's recipes. Maybe it's art. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's music. Doing something. We are trading our TV time, which we don't really watch TV, but shows that we like to watch. I guess shows, YouTube, whatever, documentaries, for education. That's something new we've done. I'm also in the evening, I started this new, is in the evenings reflecting, sitting down on my grounding mat and reflecting with my journal. The reflection part is, did I maintain a high level positivity and a high level mind frame in the day? It's not just a dumping ground like, oh, I feel all of this today. It's also a check-in with myself saying, hey, did I actually maintain this space? And it's also a place for me to have gratitude. Like I am grateful for. I also do mantras in there, in big bold letters. I'll do mantras in my journal. So anyway, this lesson is all about implementing these 3 sacred choices. And what are the 3? I'm going to share them with you. Morning routines, your connection ritual, and personal growth. So these are the 3 sacred choices I'm talking about. So morning routine, starting each day with gratitude or affirmation. Your connection ritual, spend 5 minutes connecting meaningful with somebody. It drives me crazy when Dave and I get up. We do our workout routine and we go separate ways. I'm like, that just does not fit for me. I'm like, come in and sit down while I'm in the bathroom curling my hair for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes. Let's just hang out and say, hey, check in, how you doing? Because I didn't see you in the gym enough. And then personal.
We don't really talk that much in the gym.
We don't.
So
we're pretty
focused
into that.
Yeah.
And then personal growth is dedicate 10 minutes to what we just shared: reading, journaling, or learning. That's 3 sacred choices. And when you say, hey, I want to lose weight, maybe it's you're reading more about how you can make different choices for your meal plans, or you're already planning your next week on your habits and routines for the next week, or you're looking at joining this Pilates class or yoga class or a walking group or a hiking group, whatever it is. This is all about implementing. This is your execution space, man, because you cannot have this amazing life vision that you're creating for your life and not execute. It's like writing it down, you create the visuals, but you got to actually go through the motion to do it.
I know a lot of people listening are like, oh, this sounds so boring.
I know.
The fact of the matter is you're already making these sacred choices in your life every single day. But here's what I observe, right? A lot of people make the sacred choice to browse social media, moi included, at a rate that actually consumes more time than is healthy, right? People choose to make sacred choices when it comes to watching TV, and you watch 4 hours of TV a night, right? Like that's somewhere in the range of what the average American consumes as far as media. You're making sacred choices to check up with everybody else on the phone to make sure that they are miserable, right? Because you have something miserable to share. Misery loves miserable company, right? You're making a choice, a sacred choice to engage in substance abuse, right? Whether it's drugs, alcohol, pornography, gambling, all of those things, are habits that you're choosing, right? And I'll probably get some feedback from that, and maybe not positive, right? Like I don't choose it; it chose me. I don't believe that. And the other is like spending time making the sacred choice being a gamer. We have seen a lot of instances lately where relationships have gone down the tube because one partner's like, hey, you spend 9 hours a day, gaming. Like you don't come to bed till 3 a.m, burnt out, and all you can think about is your game. And I'm not saying any of these things are bad, right? I love my little social medias. I'm starting to think of it as a business now more than just entertainment. I like to watch some TV. I'll talk on the phone. I like a glass of wine. I'm not a gamer. So I'm not saying those things are inherently bad, but they are choices you make. And when you let those choices consume you, right, you become consumed. Whereas with the choices that you're talking about, maybe you'd be better off if you were a little more consumed with those elements.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's very important. I think overall picture, you can't create the life manifesto without making the tiny changes, the habits that have to go towards that direction. And there's going to be sacrifices, there's just going to be sacrifices, point blank. We took a lot of sacrifices this year because we wanted to direct our life differently, but that's okay with us. We had setbacks in our business because we wanted to become trail runners in a bigger way than we had ever have before. So, but we look at it differently. It was a bigger growth. And now we're looking at a career of it for me, looking at possibility of getting sponsors next year, doing the right races. I'm looking at growing the programs that we currently have in this new direction, working with different coaches. It's all happening, but I am taking the action to do it. Not only just through meditation, envisioning your future self, And I'm not saying I have bad habits, because I do have bad habits. And I just have to break those down as well as you, and flip the switch. Like, what else can I do differently to start my day?
I don't like to think of habits as good or bad. They just are. But I know what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to label them. But the fact of the matter is, if in your life vision for what you want for yourself, and you put it on paper and you say, yes, that's what I want, what that requires of you is to say no to something else. And I think that's a word that is not used in most people's vocabulary enough, right? Like, get used to the uncomfortableness of saying no. And that means you've got to say no to, like, friends and family and opportunities to, eat pizza, drink beer, whatever it is, because you're focused on what you want out of your life, right? You've said yes to this, so something's going to have to fall.
And I think you have to find your way through the guilt, because there's going to be guilt that you feel, and you have to be okay with that. And you have to just say, yes, I would love to spend this time with my family doing XYZ, but in my life manifesto, my habit for this next week, I've got to get this done before I can set aside that time for whatever it is,
I feel less guilt, but I know what you mean. It's usually around family, right?
Oh, family or friends.
Family or friends. And, the norm is, right, like, last minute, let's go do this thing now. And, and then you're guilty, like, I want to do this thing, but I'm living my life.
Yeah.
And something that we use very effectively is we're already scheduled, right? Like, we already have something planned. And we've let our families know time and time again, doesn't always work, right, that if you want to do something, like, let's get it on the calendar, because that's the way we operate. I understand it may not be the way you operate. And they're getting better at it, right? They're starting to understand, oh, Wendy and David probably is not a good idea to just drop by, in the middle of the day, because they're shooting a podcast, or they're running, or they're doing one of, dozens of other things that we have chosen for our lives.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So that's important. Now, I want to wrap up this episode, because we've given you some very, takeaways from this episode, is reflecting on your year's wins, challenges, and lessons, building a vision, using the 4 key questions, and then 3, committing to daily sacred choices that align with your vision. That's important. If you want to go deeper into creating this life manifesto, David and I really encourage you to check out Mind Valley's premium program with John and Missy Butcher called Lifebook. Again, we'll include the link in the show notes for you. It is a really powerful program. And it comes with a community of all of you doing it together. And now is such a great time of year to jump in. I hope that they're still offering it, Dave. I didn't even look, but I hope they do kind of offer cohorts throughout the year. So I'm not sure if they're in a season of that or not. But anyway, whenever you're finding this, maybe you can join their next season, whatever it is, but check it out. That's it. Now, I do want to say a couple of things. If you have any questions for Dave and I, feel free to comment on any of these channels. Whether you're seeing this on YouTube or you're listening to this in Apple Podcasts, leave us a comment. We would absolutely love to read where you're going. Or maybe you're DMing us on social media. We would love that. We want to encourage you to share your own life manifestos with us. We would love to see it here. If you've created something really amazing for yourself, which I know you can do, maybe it's a video that you want to share with us. Man, share it with us. We would be so excited, because we want to support you in your journey. The next episode, I just want to give a little bit of a teaser about this, because we are going to be breaking down, Dave, the winter warrior mindset. And what that is, whether you love the winter season or you hate it, there is something to be found in that season of stillness and regrouping and thinking of next year. So stay with us and watch out for that next episode. Do you have anything else before I wrap this up, Dave? Because, creating a life manifesto is a really big deal. And I feel responsible when we talk about it for you, the listener, of thinking about how we're guiding you to create your own life. I hope this episode has inspired you.
Yeah. And I hope maybe a light went on in your head, because if you're listening to this, you're obviously already engaged in building your life, right? And Sometimes it takes hearing the same thing from different people, different ways for it to land. And, that's sort of what happened to me with Lifebook, right? I was like, it's one of those woo-woo things. And then I heard a couple of things. I'm like, this really resonates with how I want my life to go. And I see that it's not just an exercise, right? Where you do the thing, you do the workbook, and then you close it and you put
never
it away,
look at it
and you're
again.
like, okay, well, Lifebook done, right? You gotta continue to work on it every single day.
Yeah.
And I think that's for me, the realization that you go through different seasons, right, of leveling up in different areas, whether it's health, romance, money, spirituality, those things.
And to keep it simple, again, if you don't have time to join that big program, check out the Life Manifesto that we'll share with you, literally a page and a half. You can check it out. This is how we're writing ours. You can simplify. It doesn't need to be a big blown out thing. And this is something that you're going to pivot on every year. You're going to reflect on it. You're going to adapt. Your vision is going to go this way, and then it's going to go this way. It's going to constantly be twisting and turning a little bit, but you have the big picture in mind for ultimately how are you planning on living the next 60 years, 70 years, 40 years, 50 years, wherever you're at in life.
Whatever it is. And if you think the idea of turning your life manifesto into a song using AI is cool, DM me. I'll show you how to do that.
That would be amazing.
I'm loving the music stuff in
That's
AI
so cool.
right now.
Yeah. So mahalo for joining us today. If this episode inspired you, please rate us on Spotify, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and follow us for more insights on living a life of purpose. And remember, as you reflect on your year and create your life manifesto, this is just the beginning. You're not just setting goals. Remember, you're designing a life that aligns with who you truly want to be. So keep redefining, keep building, and never stop fueling your inner fire. That's what we're all here about at Embers Rising. And as Oprah so beautifully puts it, there is power in taking a moment each year to pause, reflect, and realign. This isn't just about reaching a destination. It's about loving the journey. Imagine yourself, your life, as a blank canvas where gratitude, purpose, and intention are the colors you use to create a masterpiece. And one day, one decision at a time, so as you step forward, you know that you're painting your life with your own hands. It's happening alive. So keep rising, keep evolving, and always remember the best is yet to come, and it will happen for you. Keep believing, most importantly. And until next time, keep rising. And we always like to say, aloha.